And I'd like to thank you all for being here for the Cape Cod Chambers Small Business Series. I'm Katie Atchison, Business Development Manager, and I'm joined by Kelly McInnis from Associated Industries of Massachusetts HR Solutions here to talk about a couple of things where you can get some money, which is the real gist of this topic today and why so many people are here. So she's going to talk about the HireNow program as well as some workforce training that has reimbursable outcomes for businesses in Massachusetts. So I'm going to hand it over to her for the next half hour. And just a really quick reminder that I'll also be hosting another series next week, and there'll be details out about that by the end of today. So thank you all again so much for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. She's going to unmute. I'm going to go on mute, and I'll be in the chat active with all of you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. So it looks like we have roughly 13 participants. Okay, excellent. So I thought what I would start out with is we got word late last week that the HireNow pre-registration would shut down on midnight. I think it was Wednesday night, and that the ability, once you were pre-registered, you would be able to access the HireNow website today and be able to submit your information to get started to get the access to your $4,000 per employee. And on my trip down here this morning, I had a 10 o'clock call, and it sounds like that is up and active, and you're able to get in there and figure out how you can access the money and the details regarding that. We at AIM, we are also taking advantage of this. We're looking to hire some interns for the summer. So this is all real-time information, and we are getting the information just like you are. The only advantage that we do have is our close relationship with Commonwealth Corporation and our ability to get frequently asked questions maybe a little bit quicker. But again, we got word as late as the rest of you about them closing down last week. There was a conversation this morning about the fact that there's $50 million available through the ARPA program, which is a federal program. And the way to monitor that money is by seeing how many people are accessing it. So we believe that the reason for having that shutdown happen so quickly and having everybody pre-register is so that they're able to control how many are accessing the $50 million, who wants it. If your small mom and pop coffee shop, is only accessing, say, 3 $4,000 grants, and then you have another company that's accessing the 100 of them, where is it going to fall into, and how quickly will we will the $50 million be exhausted? So I am hopeful that this is a barometer, and we get through the pre-registration, and now we all have access to be able to get in there and access the funds, and then they'll have a better timeline of what's available. And it may be that it reopens again in a couple of months and this money is available because the funds haven't been exhausted. But right now, these are controlled measures to make sure that everybody, we don't run out of the funds sooner than later. But the more important thing is it's first come, first serve. And that's why I wanted to have this opportunity to get out here and talk to those that were very eager and interested to learn about how they can get the money, when they can get the money, and how they can use the money. And so that's one of the things that I really want to be transparent about. I'm here to educate you on the fact that money's available and ways in which you can use $4,000 per employee, but that does not mean you have to do anything through AIM HR Solutions. We work with members of our organization, our membership team, our membership people, and then we work with people that are not members of AIM. AIM is a separate entity that's government affairs related, and I'm on the AIM HR Solutions side, which does not mean that you have to be a member to be able to work with me. And I love that aspect of it, and I'm very dedicated to making sure that when I work with people, that I recommend that they become a member of AIM because it is the most cost effective for them, or that if it's not cost effective or they won't utilize what AIM has to offer, they don't need to be members. And I would never encourage that, because I'm all about saving money for your business and getting the best bang for your buck. So with that said, I wanted to share, well, I kind of wanted to know, has everybody on this call pre-registered for HireNow? Like,
I'm gonna put the question in the chat too.
it's important for me to know if you have pre-registered and you have not pre-registered, because I want to shift the conversation on what's available now and what's available regardless if you did or did not pre-register.
So we're seeing some thumbs up across out and some yeses and nos. So we've got a mix in the group here.
Okay, excellent.
Attempted to, but not sure if they got in to this date.
Okay.
So you've got a mixed bag here.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you all for the feedback.
So what I initially planned on doing when I came down here before we knew that pre-registration was closed was to walk you through this HireNow slide sheet, this PowerPoint, and to explain to you what it is, eligible employees. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because if you've pre-registered, you're all set. And if you haven't pre-registered, it's not an option right now. But I do want to at least go through a couple of slides. So if it does become available again, which I am really hopeful that it does, at least you know that these are some simple things that you need to do to get pre-registered should it open up again for pre-registration. These are eligible employers, eligible new hires, and I'll quickly run through this because I'm going to bring you over to for those that you have pre-registered, how you're going to be able to use it. Company requirements, step-by-step process, and hold on. Examples on how funds may be used. This is the main part that I wanted to talk about. So the funds that are available, $4,000 per employee, can be used for onboarding, recruiting, training, compensation, and benefits. So for those of you that have pre-registered and can get into the site today, these are the ways that you want to think about how you're going to use the funds. So I'm gonna jump off of this because it's not as relevant as it was a week ago. Okay, so now the next thing I want to discuss is, let me scroll over here. Frequently asked questions. And is there a way for me? I'm actually going to put this. I think I can cut and paste this. So I can share it in the. You know what, I just don't want to bounce out of this. I'll share this that you can, yeah. Okay. So the grant is 4,000 or up to 4,000. It's a flat rate amount. And so that's what you're going to apply for. So let's just use one new hire in your organization. So I imagine that you go into the site and you're going to have to put all the details in on how you spend the money. And the documentation required are kind of vague, but all expenses must be associated directly with the new hire. And we do highly recommend, for audit purposes, should this happen, that you're able to at least explain how you spent the $4,000. And again, I just went over the details on the onboarding, the recruiting, the training, the compensation, the benefits. So for AIM, and again, keep in mind that you can find any avenue to do this, whether you do it for yourself or you reach out to us and we can help you do any one of these 5 components we can help you with. This is a good overview of how you can use this money. So for recruiting, You can use the money towards advertising for recruiting. Grant funds can be applied to advertising and job posting expenses. We recommend keeping track of these expenses as they apply to a new hire. If we hire AIM HR Solutions or another company to do our recruiting for us, can we apply these expenses to the grants? Yes, fees paid to a recruiter would be reimbursable under the grant. So, and then can you use the funds to pay for a career fair? Yes, as long as the expense is applied to a qualified new hire. At AIM, we do offer recruiting. I spent 10 years in agency recruiting, running a full desk. I know the expense that companies pay a minimum. If you have a $50,000 employee and you have a 20% agreement, then you're going to spend $10,000 to get one employee. What I love about our model on the AIM HR side is that we charge by the hour. So as a member rate, it's $145 an hour. And as a non-member rate, it's $175 an hour. And we do offer the full service, full desk recruiting. An example, one of my favorite examples is a year ago, right now, March, April, there was a hotel down here on the Cape that needed to hire 60 employees during COVID. With no visas were hard to get, and they needed to have everything staffed from housekeeping all the way up to front and back office people. So within 90 days, we had filled all 60 positions for them at the hourly rate, which definitely cost them a lot of money, but not anywhere near what it would have cost them from an agency perspective. And we were able to quickly get the positions filled for them. So I do see the value in an hourly rate. We are not in the business. We're not a staffing agency. We are not a recruiting agency. We really work hard to just support our members in getting their jobs filled. So then the next slide, I'm trying to figure out how to have my pictures here. Does anybody have any questions on the first slide? And recruiting. Okay. Can we use the money to get support for job descriptions and deciding how much to pay the new employee? Yes, you can apply the time that your team spends developing a job description for a new position, or you can hire a consultant to create job descriptions for as long as they apply to the new hire that starts between March 23rd and December 31st of this year. Those are important dates to know. We do have some members that did hold off on their hiring dates until the end of March so that they were able to apply for this and get reimbursed the $4,000. If you want to use your funds for training, we have solutions that provide sexual harassment training for all of our employees. Would it be covered by the grant? Maybe. The HireNow grant applies to new hires, so it is possible that you could use the grant funds to pay for this training. Also remember, the express grants that are available can also be used to cover sexual harassment training in addition to the other 70 programs that we offer. After I get through this slide deck, I will go over our training catalog and the access to the express grant. Keep in mind, you can simultaneously apply for the $400,000 worth of $4,000 per employee HireNow grant, but the express grant is workforce training grant money. And I'll get more into detail on when we get to the end of this. Can we use the money to create supervisory skills training that include new hires and current employees? The HireNow money is only for new hires, so the money can be used to train new hires. We encourage you to also check out the Express grant. Supervisory courses are eligible for the Express grant through the AIM HR Solutions. Can employers use the money for on-the-job training? Yes, you can use the money for on-the-job training. Our recommendation is to document what that means. For example, the money is meant to offset the time of training a manager who needs to work one-on-one with the employee. Did have a call on Friday with a country club golf course because they did want to bring somebody on. They are hiring somebody with this training money, and they are going to use the money for the manager to train the new hire. Can we use the cost of the trainer program even if the money was spent prior to the start date? No, that's what's important to remember on the dates I mentioned above. We have a temp to perm model. Can the agency time qualify as training? No, the individuals need to be W-2 as an employee to be covered by the grant. This is all relevant information that I think is going to really benefit you as you get into making sure that you're confident when you're applying for that $4,000 that you're in the time frame and they're W-2. Now, keep in mind, seasonal employees can be W-2 employees, so they do qualify. We covered the dates. Does the company have to employ a maximum number of employees to be eligible? No, there's no minimum or maximum. We have one location in Massachusetts and the employees in several other states. Can the grant be used for something that will benefit all employers or just the Mass employees? The grant will only cover individuals who live and work in Mass, but keep in mind, the company does not have to be headquartered in Massachusetts. So that's a very important fact that could be an oversight for many people that don't have access to these frequently asked questions. If we obtain a temporary employee through an agency and they remain on the agency payroll for our 90-day probationary period, once we hire the employee, can we include the agency fee as an expense? The employee must become a new hire on your payroll during the eligibility period. Once that provision is met, you can include the agency fee recruitment as your hiring expense. So if you do choose to use an agency or a temp agency or a recruiting agency, or even us at the hourly rate, you will be able to offset the expense. We have co-op students that we hire to work every other week during the school year. Can we use the funds for these individuals when they move to full-time in the summer? No, since they're not a new W-2 employee to that company. What if we hire someone from a different state and they move to Massachusetts? Would that count towards the grant? The employee must be a Mass resident at the date of hire. Our company has a Mass facility, and is this the process of moving into, in the process of moving into a new Massachusetts facility? Would we still qualify? Yes, as long as you have a physical Mass business address, an employee's home address does not qualify. So even if you're headquartered out of state, you have to have a physical office like the chamber has here to be able to qualify. If another company has received the grant for an employee, but then that employee leaves and is hired elsewhere, would the second company still be eligible to get the grant for that employee? Yes, but you would not be able to claim that individual more than once if they were hired and then left and rehired by your organization. That is a interesting nugget of information. Are seasonal employees eligible? Yes, as long as they work 30 hours per week. Do hybrid and remote workers qualify? Yes, as long as the individual lives and works in Mass and you have a physical Mass business address. So for myself, for instance, I work fully from home, but we're at 1 Beacon Street in Boston. So that's the physical address, even though I'm working from home.
So there's a question we have from Kathy in the chat. Be hired the next year, so would they qualify?
Actually, we had that question, and they are doing some research on that, and that was Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will get that information for you as soon as I have it. Ideally, it will be today, now that the portal is open and we can get access to more information. One thing I did want to say on this call is this is our first day of doing this, and I would prefer to say I'll find the information out for you than to think that I actually have the answer. So I'm not going to do that. That's why I have this nice cheat sheet of frequently asked questions, so they're factual, and this will be shared with you so you have it right at your access. Should we register individuals who are scheduled but may not end up being 30 hours? You can register the employee at the time of hire, but if they do not meet the 30-hour threshold, you would just move on to the next step for that employee to confirm their eligibility. It wouldn't be able to collect the $4,000. if we have an eligible employee who transitions from part-time to full-time, would they be eligible? These individuals will not be eligible since they were not a new W-2 employee to that company. And that's the part that leaves me a little bit hesitant on the gray area of your question, Kathy. And that's why I want to make sure that I have in writing the information for you on that. Okay, this I thought was really cool, and we are getting a lot of questions about this, referral and retention bonuses. Can funds be used as retention bonuses for existing employees? No, the funds are meant to allow employers to quickly hire and train new workers. The funds cannot be used for current employee salaries. Can the funds be used for referral bonuses? Yes, we recommend developing a formal referral bonus program, including who is eligible, the time period for the program, and the payout criteria. Can funds be used for sign-on bonuses? Yes. We recommend developing, again, a formal sign-on bonus program, including who's eligible, time period for the program, and the payout criteria. Is there a time limit on when the funds need to be paid out to eligible employees? For example, could the funds be used to hire an employee on December 22nd to pay out a retention bonus 6 months later in 2023? There is no requirement on when the funds need to be used by. Another important fact. Can the money be used to increase the salary of our current employees? No, unfortunately. The money cannot be used to increase a current employee's salary. The funds are not to be used, the funds are to be used only for new hires. Can we use the money towards advertising for recruitment? Grant funds can be applied to advertising and job posting expenses. We recommend keeping track of these expenses as they apply to new hires. Now, one thing I will say, as in my previous recruiting life, just be careful of where you're posting, and more importantly, be careful of how many times you click on a resume. In my previous life, I knew from my experience that every time you click on a resume and you keep going back and seeing if they're the right fit, you get pinged or you get charged for each time you click. So be cautious about the amount of times you click, because it adds up. If we hire AIM HR Solutions or another company to do our recruiting, can we apply these expenses to the grant? Yes, as I mentioned previously, fees paid to a recruiter would be reimbursed under the grant. Can you use the grant funds to pay for a career fair? Yes, as long as the expense is applied to a qualified new hire. Now, before I go on to training, are there any more questions?
None in the chat right now.
Okay. And am I going too fast, too slow? Is everybody okay with how my Boston accent and how quickly I just fly through things? All right, here we go for training. We have AIM HR Solutions providing, I went through that. Can we use the money to create? Went through that. Went through that. All right, these are repetitive. Oh, other uses of the grant. Can the grant be used for technology provided to staff onboarding, new laptop and tablet? This was awesome. I thought this was fantastic. Yes, the grant can be used for technology for the new employee. That in itself is a win-win for an organization. Can the money be used for internal training programs? Yes, internal training will count as well. You should determine how many qualify for that expense and the materials in the instructor time, et cetera. So for us at AIM, we do provide customer service training. So if you down on the Cape and you're in need of, ramping up your new hires in customer service training, we do that. We support Steamship Authority with their customer service training. We just did a great program for them that was fabulous, and look forward to doing that again more as the season comes upon us. And then can you provide the website where to register? So we know that the pre-registration is closed. So that is pretty much all the frequently asked questions. Are there any questions that you guys have? Oh, Cynthia has a hand up. So how do I bring it?
So I'm not sure if my microphone is working, but hopefully you all can hear me through Kelly's laptop, and I'll try to speak loudly. If there are any questions, to put them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask your question here. This is covering the how to apply and what's reciprocal for the HireNow grant. And we are getting close to the half-hour mark, but if anyone wants to stay on and Kelly can share a little bit about the express grants with us all too, you're more than welcome to. But I'd like to, if we can, if there are any questions, we'll keep the recording part of this down to the half hour. Does anyone have any questions about the HireNow? So we've got a question in the chat from Trisha, probably unanswerable. Any idea when it might reopen?
No.
No. Sorry,
that's a crystal ball question.
Where should people watch out for updates for that?
I mean, obviously we are always, you know, in the know to educate and inform everybody, but probably the same way that you heard about HireNow to begin with. It should be well documented and well spoken through media, and however you initially found out about it. But Cynthia had her hand raised. Did you want to jump in?
Can I just ask a follow-up while we wait for Cynthia?
Okay.
I know that the website is closed, but is there?
Can you have your volume up so you can hear her?
Is there any?
Yeah, it's up.
Is there anything on the website? Can you hear me now? Or I'll just type it. Sorry.
Oh, we can slightly hear her.
Sorry, Trisha, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with the two laptops in the room. What was your question?
I was just wondering if, I know registration is closed, but is there anything on the website that says like sign up for updates? I can go check it out, but I just thought I would ask.
Sure. So the question being if there's a place on MassGov's website for sign up for updates, if you're familiar.
So
people can sign up for your AIM emails. Right?
Yeah. So Trisha, I will, and again, you don't have to be a member of AIM, and I will, because I'm running these events at the chambers, then member or no member, my goal is to follow up with all of you and keep you in the know, so that, and you become my little posse of people that get the information as quick as possible.
And then I have a question, I think from Kathy. Had a question about whether the grants are reimbursable or you get the money up front.
Oh, no, you have to submit all your documentations and then you'll get reimbursed.
Any final questions? Okay, I think people can hear me through your microphone. Okay, Trish, give me a nod if that's true. Yes, perfect. So this is really important information. I am going to share this recording on our website where you found this Zoom information later today or first thing tomorrow morning, as well as whatever documents Kelly shares with me. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but we'll keep the conversation going, especially for folks that want to hear a little bit about the Express grants or ask any other questions. So again, thank you all so much for attending the Small Business Series. Thank you so much, Kelly, for coming to the Cape and sharing all this breaking news with us essentially. So thank you so much.